Gurudev Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Shishmad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Srila Guru Maharaj to Arupanuga Guru Varga and all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So we continue, we're reading our daily dose of nectar. This nectar of teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Sikshamrita. So you remember where we were. Come, Pavitra, sitting here. Sit down. Where did we stop yesterday? You remember, Prabhu? Yes, sir, the Sambandha. Yes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explained that when we talk about the teachings of Mahaprabhu, this is summarized in 10 teachings. No? This is known as the Dasamul. This Dasamul Shiksha, this has also been described in Jaiva Dharma. And also here in Chaitanya Sikshamrita. So the first one is about, you remember? The first one is about Praman, evidence. The evidence. So here also is showing that before you start teaching, then you present that these teachings are from where, what source, like this. Then this way, if people will see, like, oh, this is authority, the source of your teaching is authority, really, then they'll be inspired. Yes, I will learn. So the first of the 10 teachings is Praman Tattva, the evidence. And then the rest are the Prameya, meaning based on that evidence, these are the different lessons or teachings. So it's saying our teachings are divided into 3. Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojan. Sambandha refers to what? Relationship. And Abhideya? Yes, the practice or activities. Meaning the process. So, meaning activities based on that relation. And Prayojan, meaning, third one, Prayojan? Yeah, what is that? The goal. Prayojan meaning the goal. So, this 10 verses, 10 teachings, they comprise into these 3. So he's saying that first is Praman. Then he said the next 9 are the teachings. The first 7 of that is all about Sambandha. And if you remember, I think you should be able to remember this. 3 is about God. 3 about Iswara. 3 about the Jiva. And 1 about the relation. The Achintya Bheda Tattva. Achintya Bheda Abhed Tattva. So, first 3 is all about God. What is that? He is the Paramatattva, the first one. Or here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur summarizes it, Krishna Tattva. Krishna is the absolute truth. Okay? When you say Paramatattva, that's the supreme absolute truth, he's not second to anyone, he's not equal to anyone. So Krishna is like best, like that. There are many Ishvara, but he is Parameshwar. Like this. Understand? So, let's say, how is Krishna the best? How would you prove? This is Rupa Goswami's explanation. He's telling that Krishna has 64 qualities. But don't think he only has 64 qualities. Because Bhagavan has unlimited qualities. But these are the 64 qualities that we as jivas, we can appreciate, can perceive like this. And these are like prominent qualities, meaning all the other qualities are somehow like mixed to this. So there's 64. He said the first 50, that's is it the first 50? Oh, yeah. Yeah, like okay, the first 50 that's available to ordinary jivas, but not full. Also like limited quantity, like this. Now, if you want details on this, that is like available in like Jaiva Dharma and others. But I'm just like mentioning. But then the demigods, they have 5 more, so that makes them 55. But even then, even with the demigods, also they have 55 of the 64 among the 64. It's also not like full. They don't have the full of them. Then, but after that, there's the category of Bhagavan, meaning all different expansions of Krishna, all Vishnu Tattva, all the Narayans, and including the like avatars. They have 60, and that's in full qualities. But Krishna has 4 extra more, 64. You know what? Yeah, his madhuris, sweetness, which is not found in any other, like his manifestations. What is that? The Venu Madhuri. He has this flute. Then what else? His Rupa Madhuri. Rupa Madhuri meaning his form, very sweet. That includes he has a peacock feather and like his like fresh rain cloud complexion and whatever. He's the no, we're talking about the Rupa Madhuri, no? So then the other one is, third one, this Lila Madhuri. He has all these Lila which are very sweet. And we know, he's not only killing demons, and actually all these killing demons, that's also done with other avatars. But Lila Madhuri, all this like sweetness, like he's tied on a grinding mortar. He's bathed with a cow dung and cow urine, and like all this, like he's eating this sand, like that. Not many. He's stealing butter and like all these like very sweet pastimes. And then this Prema Madhuri, his love. So now, what was your question about the devotees? These are the 4 extra qualities present in Krishna, like this. So that's with regards to Paramatattva, Krishna as absolute. Okay. Then second, all about God is He is with regards to Shakti Tattva. He is Shaktiman. Okay, so he has Shakti. And his Shakti has all these different functions. Okay, he's the controller of that Shakti. Like this. Then third one is about Rasa Tattva. He is the relisher of all mellows of love. Like this. So there's 3 about Bhagavan. He is Paramatattva, about Shakti Tattva and Rasa Tattva. This in relation to him. Then next one is about the Jiva, also 3. And that, okay, Jiva Tattva, that we are, what? We were actually an angsa of Bhagavan, but bibinangsa. Like part and parcel. Like his Shakti is part of him. You cannot separate his Shakti. We are also a part of his Shakti. But we are called the Jiv Shakti. We are part of the Jiv Shakti. We are manifest from Jiv Shakti. But we are There's Bhagavan has his angsa. One is swangsa. Swangsa meaning directly, direct angsa of him. But we are bibinangsa. We are separate part, like this. Because we are not really directly like his manifestation. We are manifestation of his Shakti. You understand? And specifically the Jiva Shakti. Like this. So what are examples of swangsa? Those avatars, like all the different, like his different manifestations. From Baladev to Narayan. It's all from him, like direct. Then, okay, so that's the first about Jiva, Then two more. One is about the Jivas in this world. How do you call those Jivas? Baddha Jivas, bound. No? Baddha Jivas meaning they're bound by Maya. They are conditioned Maya. And the other that will be the number 6. And the other kind of Jiva, they are free from Maya. They are called Mukta. So then that makes 6 already. So we have 7 teachings, 7 prameyas. What is the 7th one? Is that all of them are part and parcel, different and non-different from Krishna. Like that. So that concludes the Sambandha. That concludes the Sambandha. That everything, whether the Jiva or this material world, everything, they are all part and parcel, separate and not separate, like this, from Krishna. Like this. Different and non-different. So that's Achintya Bheda Tattva. So that's where we ended yesterday. We mentioned 7 of the prameyas. So then that leaves us 2 more, because we have 9. So 7 plus the first one, which is, what's the first one? Rasik Prabhu. The first of the first of the 10 teachings. Dasamul. No, that's already the second. That's already the second. Yes, the first one is about evidence. Evidence. So before teaching, then he's showing the evidence. So that's the first teaching itself. Okay, the evidence. That's called the Praman. So our Praman is called Amnaya. So, like, now don't be confused. Why always using this in Sanskrit? Because it's like a formula. Like with certain words, you are already like, it saves you time from like very long like expressions in English. So what is Amnaya? Amnaya means the teachings from the Vedas that is passed down by the disciplic succession, the bona fide disciplic succession. Okay, so there's also that you may say, anyone can also say, oh, this is from the Vedas. But if it's not coming from a bona fide disciplic succession, then who knows, it's been altered, like this. So it has to be qualified. So it's the teaching of the Vedas, and the Vedas is our Praman, meaning the Vedas means is self-manifest, like self-perfect, from Krishna. So this Vedas revealed by like Vyasadeva, and this is now handed down generations to generations up to our generation now. How? By the what? How you call it? The Guru Parampara, disciplic succession. Okay, so that is what you call Amnaya. So that is our Praman. That's the basis of our evidence. So that's the first one. So then, based on that, then there's nine teachings, right? So we just mentioned 7 is about Sambandha. So, okay, 3 about Bhagavan, 3 about the Jiva, and 1 about like conclusive like relation. Achintya Bheda Tattva. Okay, so then now it leaves us only 2 left to make 9. So we continue now. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he said, Abhideya is the process to attain Sri Krishna, and it is called bhakti. Okay, so this we know. Our process is bhakti. So this is abhidaya. Abhidha Shakti is the power by which we obtain the direct meaning or connotation of a word. For example, if we say 10 horses, we can understand that there are 10 horses. Did you understand that? So they said, this is what you call Abhidha Shakti. He's saying Abhidha Shakti is the power by which we can obtain the direct meaning of a word. So when you say 10 horses, the word, this phrase, 10 horses, that is like a representation of sound, 10 horses. By that, then you understand, oh, there's 10 horses, and like you understand, oh, 10 horses, like that. And it can be different languages. In Russian, how would you say 10 horses? It can be different. In Sanskrit, in like that. But everyone understand 10 horses, right? So he said, that Shakti, that is that power by which you can understand the direct meaning of the word. It's called Abhidha Shakti. Okay? Abhidha Shakti. So he said this easy understanding is known as Abhidaya. Indirect connotation. The indirect connotation. So there's the direct, that's the Abhidha Shakti. So I said there is also indirect connotation, and it is called Lakshan Shakti. Lakshan, meaning symptoms. Lakshan means symptoms. Okay, symptoms. So Lakshan Shakti is another way to take the meaning of a word. An example of this is the city of Varanasi is on the river Ganges. Okay. So then he said, okay, he's telling that statement. This is an example of Lakshan Shakti, like indirect. So he said, the city of Varanasi is on the river Ganges. That particular sentence. So why is that an example? He said, we know that Varanasi is not on or above the water. And thus, by using Lakshan Shakti, we can understand that the city is on the bank of the river Ganges. Okay. The meaning is obscure, so we cannot use the process of Abhidha Shakti to understand the connotation. So we have to use Lakshan Shakti. Understand? So like say, for example, someone making statement, and if you take that statement directly, really it doesn't make sense. So the way to understand that is by making like indirect, like indirect interpretation, like indirect understanding. Yeah. So he said, by these examples, we can understand that Abhidha is the process of taking the natural and direct meaning of a word. This Abhidha system should be used when studying the Vedas in order to understand its direct meaning. Only the direct meaning of the Vedic scriptures presents its true meaning. That is the Abhidaya, and it is our duty to understand the true meaning. By complete study of the Vedas, we understand that Bhagavad Bhakti is the true Abhidaya of the Vedas. Did you get that? And you can now understand why he's explaining like this. Why he's saying that if we really try to understand and analyze and try to get what is the direct, meaning of the Vedas, then you can understand that Bhagavad Bhakti is the true Abhidaya. Why? Because in the Vedas, then you will find many other teachings also which is not Bhakti, like karma and gyan. But they are there like a lakshan, they're there to nourish or to make way for understanding or maybe appreciating or learning Bhagavad Bhakti. And we already explained that before. People have different qualifications, no? So many, they're not on that platform that they can appreciate Bhakti immediately. But they have interest for material gain. And so then there's teachings for them. That's karma, like this. And some, they may not directly be interested in bhakti. They're only interested in their own liberation, for example, like this. And so there are some teachings to, to focus on them, and about this gyan, this gyan section. So he's saying, by complete study of the Vedas, we understand that Bhagavad Bhakti is the true Abhideya of the Vedas. Karma, yoga, performance of dry austerities, this is called tapa, and dry speculative knowledge, gyan, all have indirect relationship with bhakti. There is no mutual direct primary relationship between them. Because of this, scriptures describe sadhana bhakti as the main method to obtain Bhagavan. This is one prameya, that which is proved by praman. Okay, so this is one of our teachings. And our praman for this is the Vedas, Amnaya. Okay, so this is now number 8. So number 8 teaching is bhakti, which is our Abhideya. Okay, so there's 9. 7 is about Sambandha. 1 is about Abhideya. And that leaves us only one more. And that's for Prayojan. Well, then you have complete 9. So now he said, the goal reached by adopting a particular process is called Prayojan. So you get that, no? The goal that you attain by adopting a particular process. The goal of your Abhideya, the process, is called Prayojan. The Jiva's ultimate Prayojan is Krishna Prem. In its mature state, this Prem is also a Prameya. Okay, so he said this Prem, and he specifically make us making it very clear that the mature state in its mature state, this Prem is also a Prameya. By adding all the Prameyas, meaning 7 about Sambandha, 1 about Abhideya Tattva, and 1 about Krishna Prem, we come to a total of 9. By this process, Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Jaiva Dharma, which is the real religion of all jivas. And so there's a book, Jaiva Dharma. A big part of that book is just about this Dasamul. And Gurudev also said, if you fully understand the Dasamul, then really you are a very qualified preacher. He said all sannyasis should also know this. So he said, additionally, in teachings given to Sanatan Goswami, Mahaprabhu said, Eita kahilon sambandha tatvera vichar, Veda shaste upadeshi, Krishna ekasar, Ebe kahi suno abhideya lakshan, Jaha haite pai Krishna, Krishna premadhan. This is from Madhya Lila. So this is from Sanatan Shiksha, no? Mahaprabhu teaching to Sanatan Goswami. So Mahaprabhu is saying, I have described the topic of Sambandha Gyan in various ways. This is the subject matter of all the Vedas. Sri Krishna is the very essence of everything. Now, I shall speak about the characteristics of devotional service, which is the Abhideya. By this process of devotional service, one can attain Sri Krishna and his loving transcendental service. Mahaprabhu in Sanatana Shiksha, he mostly was speaking about Sambandha. And that's why Sanatana Goswami, he is our Sambandha Acharya. His writings also are focused on that, understanding like Sambandha. So Mahaprabhu, when he's speaking to Sanatana Goswami, he concluded by saying like this, I have spoken everything about Sambandha. I have taught you everything on Sambandha. He said, this is the subject matter of the Vedas. And he said, Krishna is the essence of everything. And now I will speak now about bhakti. I will now speak about the Abhideya. So we go now to the third stream. Sri Krishna, the Supreme Controller, Ishvara, has a transcendental body composed of Satchit Ananda. Yesterday we mentioned this: eternality, knowledge, and bliss. Now, like our language is limited. That one we have to understand, because we say Krishna is composed of eternality, knowledge, and bliss. Really, that is so. What is that? Eternality, knowledge, and bliss. So that is his body, like this. And for some people, it's just like words, like this. But yeah, really, what it means that he is completely beyond this world. In this world, we cannot even understand eternal time, because everything is temporary. But yeah, his body is completely eternal. And his body is completely conscious. Here, everything is dead. This world everything is dead. It's dead. There's dead matter, like that. His body completely chit, meaning completely conscious. And Ananda means happy, like this. Everything happy and cause of happiness. That's the very essence of his body. So just therefore, when you see him, immediately you become happy, because that body is composed of this happiness also, this Ananda, like this. So Satchit Ananda, he is without beginning and he has no cause. Rather, he is the root cause of all causes, and in the scriptures he is called Govinda. So this one, we can tell where Bhaktivinoda Thakur took this. There's a what verse is that? Ishwara Paramakrishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So here, this is exactly like a translation of that verse, like this. He's mentioning he is called Govinda. He is the cause of all causes, without beginning, like that. He is composed of Satchidananda. So in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sriman Mahaprabhu teaches Sri Sanatana Goswami about the tattva of Sri Krishna. How? With the following verses. So he said, Krishnera Swarup Vichar Shuno Sanatan Advaya Gyan Tattva Vraje Vrajendra Nandan Sarva Adi Sarva Angsi Kishora Shekhar Chidananda Deho Sarvashray Sarveshwar Swayam Bhagavan Krishna Govinda Paranam Sarvaishwarya Purna Jara Goloka Nitya Dham. So, translation for that, he's saying, oh Sanatan, please hear about the eternal Swarup of Sri Krishna. When you say Swarup, his very personality. Okay? So, what is the Swarup of Sri Krishna? Sanatana Goswami, Mahaprabhu explained to Sanatana Goswami, he said Advaya Gyan Tattva, meaning non-dual absolute truth. Advaya Gyan Paratattva, the original source and sum total of everything. You're familiar with this term, Advaya Gyan Paratattva? Because if you've been with Srila Gurudev, then there are times, and especially around Janmashtami time, then all this Krishna Tattva will be discussed. Gurudev, 1 week before Janmashtami, he'll be calling sannyasis and brahmacharis and only speaking Krishna Tattva. So that time we start to hide because we're afraid the Gurudev will call us. One time I was hiding and he said, where is Krishna Karanya? Like that. And so then they're running because I was hiding in my room. I have a small room there in Mathura. But it has a window, so I can see from the window. It's directly to the temple. And I'm hiding inside. But then Guru calling, and so then I have to come. And then, okay, then he called me, then I have to explain. But yes, it was good because on this day, then you're glorifying like Krishna. That time I was just explaining about, Bhagavan has 6 opulences, You know the 6 opulences of Bhagavan? When we say someone is called Bhagavan if he has these 6 opulence in full. So when you say Bhagavan, meaning God. So what are they? Aishwarya, Virya, Yash, Shri, Gyan, Vairagya. So you have to memorize the verse. Aishwaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashashriya, Gyan, Vairagyayushchaiva, Itingana, Tanambaga, something like that. He's saying that these 6 opulences are in full with Bhagavan. So what are they first? Aishwarya. What is Aishwarya? Yeah, like sometimes, and that's why it's very good to really understand, because sometimes when you see translation, there's an English word for that, but that we have to understand that is limited, because when it says Aishwarya, generally people will translate as wealth, opulence, and therefore some will say wealth. So Bhagavan is the most wealthy, like that. So like that. But really, understanding the word Aishwarya meaning, he can make you like wonder like how he do that, meaning like we say like when we say Aishwarya, there's awe and reverence, right? So then one time we brahmacharis like, what is the proper word for this? And then we came up like maybe just awesome, like God is so awesome, like this. Because like really Aishwarya meaning he will make you wonder how he can be both opposite. Like he can be the smallest and he can be the biggest. Because when you say he's the biggest, it's like okay, but then that's not like wonderful enough, But if he is the biggest and at the same time the smallest, then that's like wow, how is that like that, So how he is the biggest? How is he the biggest? Yeah, because even just by his manifestation, we know his eternal swarup is Krishna, and he's described to be medium-sized. Like in Jaiva Dharma, it says like that medium-sized form is Krishna. But we know his manifestation in the material world, which is actually the source of everything in the material world. Who is that? Mahavishnu. And from his breathing, then all these different universes. Not one universes, but unlimited universes coming out. So that's so big, But then, in every universe, he's also there. And then many living entities there. And in every living entity, he's also there. So in every atom, he's also there. So that as the Paramatma. No. So then he's also the smallest, like that. So that is an example of Aishwarya. He has that quality. Aishwarya. So that is one. When you say Bhagavan, he has this Aishwarya in full, not just like half or 75%, 90%. It's 100%. Okay, so Aishwarya. Then what else? What's the next one? No, Samagrasya means ingredients. Samagrasya. See, he's composed, or this is like his formula. The ingredients of Bhagavan is these 6 qualities in full. What are they? Aishwarya. Then next one is Virya. Virya means like strength. Strength. So it refers to him as the Shaktiman, like that. He has all power, like that. No question to that, like 100%, like this. So strength. What else? Aishwarya, Virya, Yash. Yash, Yasha. What's Yash? Yash is beauty? No. Huh? Yeah, Yash means glories. Or they translate this as fame. God is very famous. And I know, and I always explain this, but it's good to explain again, because many people have doubts about this, because when you say God is famous, then I said, no, right now Putin is probably more famous than Krishna, because now he's declaring war and everything. That's all in the news, like Putin, Putin, like that. or this whoever was Zelensky or whatever. So they're famous, and they may say like, oh, maybe just in Russia, who knows Krishna? Maybe some devotees, something like that. But everybody knows Putin. So they may say, how possible? And some people, they may be in illusion, really. Like they may say like, we are more famous than Krishna. Like they're like great rock stars and like this. So then, if you really understand, look, right now, in this earth, Krishna is known. And these people, they may be known, but okay, in the next 200 years, or let's say in the next Kali Yuga, will these people be known? No more. All this, the history, they're all gone like this. Hitler may not be known anymore. He's still now in the history books like that. But in the next Kali Yuga, who knows? Like this. But Krishna, his fame will remain. Even in the next creation also, And not just in this universe. That means not just in this earth. Some people, their fame is only in this earth. But you go to the heavenly planets, his fame is there. Like this. In all the other universes, Krishna's fame is there. So therefore, we cannot deny his fame is always there. He's always famous. He's eternally famous. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he actually explained that this yash, this fame, really means also all auspicious, like very auspicious. And that's why he's glorious. Because anyone who hears his glory, then they will have auspiciousness. Like something good will happen to them, like that. So then, what else is the next one? So we have so far how many? 3, no? And 4? What's the 4? Shri. There's Aishwarya, Virya, Yash, and Shri. Shri means that's beauty. Beauty. So beauty, everybody knows. Beauty. And what's the next one? Gyan and Vairagya. So everybody knows Gyan. Gyan means knowledge. God is most knowledgeable. And so then Vairagya, renunciation. No. Meaning he doesn't depend on anyone. He's renounced. So this qualities, 6 qualities, 100% in full in Bhagavan. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he actually gave an analysis on this. And so then we can understand also that he's saying that of these 6 qualities, one is the main quality. If it's like a tree, one of this quality is the trunk. And he said there's a trunk, and then from that trunk there's 3 qualities that's actually part of that. So which one is the main one? Shri, beauty. Beauty. Why? Because this Aishwarya and Virya and Yash, this fame, or his glory, his strength, and his awesomeness, like that, that is part of his beauty. Like that, you can say it's part of his beauty. And really, Bhagavan is the most beautiful. And when you say Krishna, he's the most beautiful. So that's how you determine who's the original, the most beautiful. Krishna with 64 qualities, with extra 4 sweetness, making him fully beautiful, like that. So he's the original, like this. So that's one. But so far we have 4. So he said the other 2, Jnana and Vairagya, they are only sub branches of Yash. They are not directly a quality of Bhagavan, but they are quality of his Brahman effulgence, the Brahma Jyoti, like that. So you can see, because the Brahma Jyoti is part of Krishna Swarup. It's part of his Krishna Swarup, therefore that's included. But he said this Jnana and Vairagya, this is only quality of his glories. He's known to be all knowledgeable. He's known to be the most renounced. But in reality, if you go to Goloka Vrindavan, then you will see how he can renounce the gopis, how he can renounce the Brijbasis, like that. Because this is part of his Madhurya, his Prem Madhuri. And also, because of Yoga Maya, He is knowledgeable, but there in Goloka Vrindavan, then you see this part of his Madhurya that he appears like a little kid who doesn't know, like this. So he's only known, this is his glories, like this. Okay, so these are, 6 opulences of Bhagavan. Now, back to my story. I was telling that during Krishna Janmashtami, then there's whole many days discussing about Krishna. And this subject matter on Advaya Gyan Paratattva always comes out like this. And Gurudev always, initiates this discussions. And it's very good to be able to understand this. Especially if you know this, and when Gurudev asks, you know exactly what to tell. And immediately Gurudev will be happy. Because Gurudev can tell, when you're just telling and going here and there, like that. Everything, of course, is correct because you're repeating what you say. But there's some specific points that Gurudev want to be discussed, like that. Especially when discussion on Advaya Gyan Paratattva. So like now, this is something which is good we can discuss. When we say Advaya Gyan Paratattva, what is that in English? Advaya. Advaya means non-dual, not dvaya. Dvaya means dual. So meaning not dual, meaning only one. Not two, only one. Advaya Gyan. So non-dual knowledge or non-dual truth. Okay, and Advaya Gyan Paratattva. So non-dual absolute truth, like that. So what is that? It means that when you talk about God, there's that understanding that He's a tattva which is really one. Like you cannot separate Him from everything. He is one with everything. Now, that's the challenge now. How to discuss this without coming to be like a Mayavadi or Advaitavadi. Because we say He's supreme absolute truth. Then Mayavadis and Brahmavadis say, yes, of course, He's absolute truth, non-dual, like that. Because He's Brahma, everyone is Brahma, like that. But that is not the way we explain. So, you understand? So you have to know, you have to explain it in a way that you're explaining that Krishna, He is the supreme absolute truth, non-dual, and at the same time refuting the teachings of the Brahmavadis, Advaitavadis. You know how? Because this is how Jiva Goswami explains in his Tattva Sandarbha. And when you talk about Advaya and Pratatva, then this is the thing Gurudev want to come out during the discussion. So I'm just giving you like a quick summary. You have to discuss 3 points in there when discussing this Advaya and Pratatva. That when you talk about Krishna, He is free from the fault, like from 3 faults. Okay, what are they? When you say the same, when you say a certain category, in Sanskrit the word for a category is jati. Jati. Like generally it's taken translated as caste. Caste. So we say Jati Gosai. All these, Goswamis or these people coming from a certain, like the Goswami caste. We tell them Jati Gosai. Like this. And their teaching is that you cannot be a guru if you're not coming from the bloodline of a certain Goswami and like that. So now there's in this world, you can see differences. One is called Swajatiya Bhed. When you say differences, it's called Bhed. So there are 3 Bheds that you will see everywhere. So, and the Mayavadis or Brahmavadis, they are trying to, to show, if you think Krishna is has this has this Bhed, then he's not like like he's not one, right? So okay, well, let's discuss this. 3 Bheds. One is Swajatiya Bhed, another is Vijatiya Bhed, and another is Swagat Bhed. Okay, so when you say Vijatiya, first Swajatiya. Swajatiya meaning in the same category. In the same category, there's some difference. Okay, so what's the example of that? Like, for example now, we may be in the same category. How? We are in the human form. Okay. So within the human form, we have differences. Even those twins, from the same mother, born the same time, like they have differences. There are always differences like that. But then we will have to prove that Krishna, with his own category, he is not different. So he doesn't have that fault. So that is called Swajatiya Bhed Rohit. He has no of this Swajatiya Bhed. So how would you prove like that? So what are in the same category as Krishna? Yeah, like Ram, Nrsimha, Narayan, like this. All these they're all different Vishnu Tattvas, Mahavishnu. Okay, so then this will be like one like how do you call this? Like an argument thing, point. That you're saying Krishna is non-different from everything. Look, even within his own category, he's different. You just say Krishna has 64, and now the Narayan has only 60. Like you say like that. Oh, his form, he has this form with peacock feather like this, and then Nrsimha like this. Has different form like that. Narayan has 4 arms like that. So you will see all these differences. So how would you say he's one? He's non-dual. So how would you refute? How would you refute that? If you face some very Paka Mayavadi and fighting with you on this point. So we have to take Jiva Goswami's example. So Jiva Goswami, he's giving, the best way to make people understand is using analogy. So Jiva Goswami is using analogy of the moon. The moon has how many faces? 16. Well, how 16? Because there's two Pratipat, there's two Dvitiya, 2 Tritiya, up to Chaturdasi, up to the 14th moon, there's 2 of that. So they're considered like one face. So that's 14. But then there's Purnima and there's new moon. So there's 2 more other faces, total 16, right? But all in all, there's 30. In one month, there's 30 moons, like that. But really, of the 30 moons, you can say there's 16 different kinds of moons, because they have different kinds of shape, like that. But does that mean that there's 16 moons? No, there's only one moon. But according to how the moon, because of his how he manifests his power, his effulgence, then you see difference. But it's actually the same moon. So Jiva Goswami is explaining like that. Same with Krishna. Krishna is like the full moon. But according to how he display or how he manifests by his power, then we see a certain manifestation of him, a certain phase of the moon. You're following? So then he's one. But that's within his category. Okay, so that's the first of the 3 differences. What is that difference called? Swajatiya Bhed. Swajatiya Bhed. Now, next one is what? Vijatiya Bhed. Vijatiya Bhed meaning difference between him and from a different category. And this one is more difficult, because of course they're different. And how is that? Krishna, he is Satchidananda, completely spiritual. How is he non-different from the material world and from the jiva? Like this. They are from a different category. Completely different category. So that's called Vijatiya. So Vijatiya Bhed. But we say Krishna is free from this fault, free from this difference. So how would you refute that? How would you refute? So again, we can make use of analogies also. When something, there may be different parts, but they're working as one unit. So then really they're not different, like this. What's an example? Let's say an orchestra. In an orchestra, there are so many musical instruments, like drum, piano, trumpets and violin and whatever. So many like that. But they're all working in one unit. So then there's harmony, like this. So they're like one. So in the same way, Bhagavan, he's like the conductor. By his will, everything else is working like this. They may be different because they're manifestation of his Shakti, different manifestation of his Shakti. But they're working according to his will, like this. And like they give some joke, like example to this. Like when something is part of your body, our body also is composed of many different categories, different organs and everything. When something is inside the body and working as part of the body, then considered one. The moment it comes out of the body, then like it's no longer considered part of the body. Like let's say you sweat or you pass urine. That water is no longer like part of the body. So it's like now it's separate. But it said if you have the power to bring it back, like that. And then it's still part of you, like that. But now we have no more control. But Bhagavan, he's like that. Like all these material universes and all the living entities, it's all coming from his, as Mahavishnu, all coming from him. And then it manifests, but at his own will, they also coming back, like that. So it's part of him. So in this way, you can refute that, there may be different categories. They're Vijatya. And there you may see differences. But in reality, he's one. Like that. Okay, so that's Vijatya Bhed. There's no difference. Then, last one is Swagat. Swagat Bhed. Swagat Bhed meaning within one's own body. Difference is there. So one is within same category, and one is within different categories. And in Swagat, it's like within your own, you will find difference. And so like, for example, us, within our body, then so many differences are there. We have body parts, all different. The Mayavadis, they're so against this because they said we're all Brahma. And so we're not person. We don't have a body. We're just like white light, impersonal, like that. But we say we are persons, and God also is a person. So then they will say so if he's a person, then you will see, in his body so many differences. So how he's one, like that. So then we say, no, he's Swagat Bhed Rohit. He has no these differences within his own body. And how? How would you refute this? How would you refute? Yes, all his body parts can perform all the functions of all these different other body parts, like that. So there's a shlok in Brahma Samhita, no? What is that? Yasya Kalendriya something. I forgot now. Kalendriya Vritti Manti Pasyanti Panti Kalayanti Shiran Jaganti. Like this. He said that with all his different body parts can perform all the functions of all each parts, like that. And Bhagavan can do like that. His eyes can eat, or his ears can eat. His nose can hear, or like that. So in this way, then we say he's one. So therefore, he's absolute. You understand? So that is like with the discussion of Advayagyan para Tattva. Advayagyan para Tattva. So here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's quoting this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu telling to Sanatana Goswami, he said, hear about the eternal Swarup of Krishna. So first he said, he is the non-dual absolute truth. Advayagyan para Tattva. The original source and sum total of everything. He resides in Vrindavan as the son of Maharaj Nanda. He is the supreme youth. The actual word actually is Kishora Shaikar. And his whole body is eternal and full of knowledge and spiritual bliss. He is the shelter and controller of everything and everyone. Sri Krishna is the original supreme person. He is called Govinda and endowed with full opulences, and he always resides in his eternal spiritual abode known as Golok. So then, Bhaktivinoda Thakur continues. He said, the Jiva may have realization of the Swarup of the Supreme Controller, of Ishvara. A human being's cognitive power to realize him is bestowed solely by the power of the Supreme Controller. The Jiva is able to understand the Swarup of Ishvara only by his grace. You following? You following what we're reading? Because I have to check, because in this Kali Yuga, we know our mind, not only can it focus easily, like forget also. You just heard, but then after a few seconds you forget also. So here he's saying, you may, really, we have the capability to understand Ishvara. Yeah, we can understand Ishvara, or realize. He actually the word used here. He said, we may understand. Well, we may realize the Swarup of Ishvara, right? But that realization, really, if you understand, it only depends on the Parameshwar himself. If he doesn't want you to like realize him, we have no power. Really, on our own, we cannot. But we can only by his mercy. Understand? So he said, this power to realize him is solely bestowed by him. So the Jiva is able to understand the Swarup of Ishvara only by his grace, only by his mercy. So now he said, there are three types of realization available to human beings. So he said, as far as realization is concerned, three types of realization. The realization gained through the gross material body's organs of sense perception. So that's understandable? What is that? Realization through the material organs, sense perception. Like, okay, maybe you see, right? And he said another one is realization through the mind's cognitive power. And the third one is realization through the soul's own power of cognizance. Okay, so there's like three levels of here. One is actually like gross body, one is by the subtle body, and one is by you yourself, in the Atma. The five organs of sense perception, what are they? The Gyanendriyas are the eyes, nose, tongue, ears, and sense of touch. Whatever external realization one has with the aid of these senses can only be material. Understandable? Yeah, because they are material. So therefore, whatever realization you get from these senses, they're only material. Now, whatever realization one gains by means of the mind, in the form of thinking, remembering, meditation, contemplation, which is retracting the mind from external stimuli, external sensual stimuli, only awards us subtle material knowledge, a mere shadow of spiritual reality. It's called Chidabhas. Therefore, this method of acquiring knowledge is also material. Okay, it's also material. It's part of the subtle material element. So you understand that? What is the example of this? Like subtle sense of perception, like realization by the mind, like this. Maybe some mystic powers, maybe, you know, maybe like that. You realize, like this one is you're not relying on the gross senses, but only by mind. Like yeah, like when you're dreaming, and some people they have this they call like psychic powers also, no? Like they can tell they're not looking, but they can by their mind they can have some realization, like that. So these are all what? These are all still material. This is material because that's in the material level. Then he said, therefore, yeah, this is material. The swarup of the Supreme Controller is completely spiritual. Thus, it is impossible to have realization of the Supreme Controller's swarup by the previously mentioned two types of realization. So you understand? So no matter how much mystic powers you have or psychic powers, you cannot realize Bhagavan. He is spiritual. This material, these psychic powers, whatever, this is material. Without taking shelter or assistance of the cognitive potency of the soul, the Atma Vritti, one cannot see the Swarup of the Supreme Controller. Some strive for such vision by taking assistance from the material senses through the adoption and practice of the yoga process. So he said, did you get that? See, it's only by the special realization potency of the Atma that you can understand the like Swarup of Bhagavan. Now, he said some people they strive to have that type of vision by taking assistance from their material senses. And how? They adopt and practice the yoga process. This practice includes asana. They're doing asana, bodily postures, pranayam, breathing exercises, dhyan, meditation, dharana, and other methods centered around the negation of material thought and experience. Imagining Ishvara to be the soul of the created world, they see him in the form of Paramatma in a state of trance. However, even by all these activities, they cannot achieve complete transcendental vision. At most, they may receive a partial comprehension of the truth in the form of a simple negation of material existence or experience. So, here, they're also making use, by some yoga system, they're making use of the material senses, right? And they may do all these exercises, pranayam, and all this hatha yoga, like postures and everything. But said, that will not give, still, it will not give full realization. It may give a partial comprehension of the truth. More so than the practitioners of bodily yoga, Gyanis extend themselves further by complete negation of everything experienced in this world. Thus, they imagine that the absolute truth is a formless and immutable substance. By this understanding, they imagine themselves to have had Brahma Darshan, seeing the absolute. In reality, their Brahma Darshan is only an appearance or show, meaning simply by seeing the Brahma Jyoti, they think they have seen Brahma. Okay, so here, the highest, like this, all this method, this is still by your own strength, by your own endeavor. So by your endeavor, you're doing this yoga process. Higher than that, you're doing all this, what those practitioners of the Gyan. And ultimately, they imagine that the Swarup of God is just formless. That is still based on their own speculation. God is like this, and by that they have some realization, and they actually, and really, if they are really pure, they by their practice, because what they do, they have complete negation of material experience. They try to really renounce, right? So then, by whatever purification they have attained, how pure they are, they may realize this only up to the Brahman effulgence, and that's the thing. Then they think, oh, this is, I attained the ultimate realization, like this. But he said that's not really Brahma. That's only his effulgence, the effulgence of Brahma, like this, effulgence of God. Regarding this point, in Srimad Mahaprabhu's instructions to Sanatan Goswami, he said, Gyan, Yoga, Bhakti, Tina, Sadhanera, Vase, Brahma, Atma, Bhagavan, Trividha, Prakashe. There are three processes for understanding the absolute truth. So he said, there are three processes of understanding the absolute truth. One is the path of Gyan, speculative knowledge, mystic yoga, and Bhakti yoga. Accordingly, the absolute truth is realized as Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Jai Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Lalita Vishaka Devi ki Jai. Let's just finish the section. We have 10 minutes. So he said, this has also been stated elsewhere, such as the following verse. And this is in Madhya Lila, the same in Sanatana Shiksha. He said, Mukhya Gona Vritti, Kimva Anvaya Vyatirik, Vedera Pratigya Kevala Kahaye Krishna Ke. Whether one accepts Vedic literature by interpretation or by its primary or secondary intention, directly or indirectly, all the Vedas ultimately point to Sri Krishna. This is the conclusion. He's saying, all the Vedas, he said, ultimately, only pointing really to Sri Krishna. When the individual soul considers himself to be the seer and wants to see the Supreme, then Ishvara reveals himself according to the qualification of the person. By practicing Karma Yoga, one sees him as Paramatma. By Gyan Yoga, one sees him as impersonal Brahma. And by Bhakti Yoga, one has his darshan as Bhagavan. Learned personalities who have understood philosophical conclusions have called the absolute truth Advaya Gyan Swarup Tattva. The above mentioned three types of spiritual aspirants see the form of this non-dual spiritual entity in one of these three separate forms according to their respective level of qualification. Actually, Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are one tattva. Whatever partial vision one has, one considers darshan of that form to be the highest. Okay, so we have three types of practitioners. Practitioner of Gyan, practitioner of Yoga, and one of Bhakti, right? So he said, one practicing Karma Yoga will see him as Paramatma. Those practicing Gyan Yoga will see him as the impersonal Brahma. But those practicing Bhakti Yoga, then they will have darshan of him as Bhagavan. So he said, according to them, according to the practitioner, his darshan is the highest. Because that is his level. Like this. But he's saying, but these three, there are three aspects of the absolute truth. It is not like one is incorrect. Really, Brahma is there. The impersonal aspect is there. It is not that it is not true. It is true, but that realization is not the highest. Also, Paramatma is there. But realizing Paramatma is also not the highest. But Bhagavan is there. And realizing Bhagavan is really realizing, a full realization. Especially if you're realizing the Swayam Bhagavan is Krishna. So, that is the next topic now, telling that Sri Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, no? The original Supreme Person. Okay, so we can stop now. This is like too much, so much this details, and if we're taking so much also, some indigestion may come, diarrhea coming. So okay. Jai Shri Gurudev ki jai, Jai Shri